are, beautiful Kipahulu. We're at La Lima Farms, an amazing permaculture farm, biodynamic farm out here in Kipahulu, Maui. And this farm is owned by my friend Josh Stern, who's been working this land for many years. We're here at the fruit stand, and we're gonna basically show you guys what biomimicry is all about. We're gonna take a look around and see how they've designed the land using principles of biomimicry and looking to nature for design concepts. We're going to show you mulching techniques, compost, building, you know, how to create a canopy in the orchard, planting ground covers. We're going to look at many different things, bringing in the wildlife, encouraging, you know, wildlife to come, encouraging pollinators, bees, butterflies, moths. We're going to look at a lot of what's happening here. Here we have a noni fruit. Here's some ripe ones fell off the tree. This is a fruit that tastes like blue cheese. Here's a ripe one. Whew. This takes a lot of getting used to or developing a taste for. There's some people that really like this. This is a very strong flavor. This is kind of, if we look up in here, we have the ground cover here, the peanut. This is a red sapote, and the closeness of these trees and things. This is what we're looking for to basically mimic a forest situation. We never want to see bare dirt. That's one thing that you never see in a forest, is exposed soil. So in our designs and things, we want to constantly be putting biomass down. Okay, so check this out here. We have different, basically we're setting up different, the understory. We have the coffees holding space that grows lower to the ground, and then we have our taller fruit trees. It's an abiu there, and then behind there we see the gliricidia, which is a nitrogen fixing tree. It's putting off seed right now. This is an excellent example of biomimicry and creating a forest feel at the same time producing massive amounts of food and increasing the fertility in the soil, because everything is dropping to the ground, composting on the surface and feeding the microorganisms, and then the microorganisms are feeding the trees, and the cycle continues in that way. So here we're seeing an excellent example of mulching. Mulching in the garden is crucial. It's essential to keep the life in the soil. Right here we're seeing we have plants, babies coming up in here. The mulch is holding the moisture in the soil. It's keeping the top layer of microorganisms happy. It's keeping weeds back, and ultimately lowering all of your maintenance in the garden. And once again, you never see bare dirt in natural systems, so really important to get the mulch down in the garden. Here we are under the Jamaican lilikoi vine. This is a really good example of how to use weed trees as a trellis for a species of fruit that you want to grow, and you don't have to build any trellis or infrastructure. You just use what's already here. These gliricidias, again, all coming up, providing trellis. And then over here you have, these are babies or seedlings of the Jamaican lilikoi that are just coming up and volunteering, all under the ground, under this vine. As well, over here we have a papaya that probably is from a papaya that dropped off of this tree here. So it's just an example of the abundance that you create when you start to plant fruit in orchards. It just multiplies once you get things in the ground and you set up the system in a sustainable way. It just keeps building and building. Fertility, abundance, more and more fruits, and higher quality as time goes on. Alright, we got some incredible papaya trees here. These are trees that got topped down and then they start to branch out. You hardly ever see this many racks of fruit on one papaya tree. Typically it's like that one, you get one straight up, but these are incredible. I mean, look at this. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fruit sets on one. And then right here is a Chico Sapodilla. This is an incredible exotic fruit. You can see, you get a little bugger here. Tastes kind of like cinnamon brown sugar or something. So here I wanted to show you guys, this is a really invasive, nasty weed to have to deal with. And what they're doing here is using the biomass, the leaves from the bananas, chopping them and dropping them down on the ground in under here to hold the space. Basically just accelerating the process that naturally happens. The banana leaves dry up and they fall. So then what we want to do is accentuate that process, come through and clean up all the trees, lay it all down on the ground in order to hold back these invasive weed grasses and things. Okay, here we have a water feature, a pond. This really helps to bring the wildlife onto the land, which we always want to try and encourage. As you can see, the dragonflies, there's a lot of things that the water really attracts. And then you have other predators that, like the frogs and things, that help with the mosquitoes, and they also help clean up other pests, the dragonflies. This is a beautiful installation. So here we have a static compost pile. This is the pinnacle of what we want to be doing on the land. We want to be taking all of the resources and utilizing them and building massive compost piles with all of the invasive grasses, weed trees that you can chip and build massive biomass piles in order to build the fertility, build the microorganisms, build the life in the soil. So this is a great example of what's possible when you pull all of the resources that are on the land and just pile them up and let nature take its course. So here we are in the popcorn patch. This whole area was used to grow corn for popcorn, and then now they're moving it, and what they've done is planted papaya and coffee and other veggies. We have some mint ground cover in with the peanut, and this is all to basically have crops coming in succession in timing wise. So first you're harvesting your veggies, and then as that fades out, then you've got your papayas coming in after, and then after a few years, papayas are relatively short-lived. After their cow, then you have the coffee coming up to hold the space after that. So here we have a big screen to sift out the big rocks, and basically you can sift your compost through this, or good choice topsoil, and then eliminate a lot of the big rocks. And then of course you could use these for pathways, walkways, driveways. This is another resource that you can create, as well as getting nice topsoil free for the gardens. Here we have an example of what happens in a situation when you just start to plant, like these cherry tomatoes. They planted a couple, and then they just start seeding themselves and naturalizing in and on around your property. These are all volunteer. Star Apple Central. Tree ripened. Suriname cherry here. This is a big Suriname cherry. I have some lychees setting fruit. Now if you look in under here, this is what you want to see, under your fruit trees. leaf litter mulch. It's heavily shaded.